The screen glowed in the dark of a million bedrooms. A single post, a plume of cinematic smoke, and a silhouette that made every theater executive in Hollywood drop their morning coffee.
Oh, he definitely dropped it.
Right. It wasn't just a marketing stunt, it was a cultural earthquake. Scary Movie's bomb popcorn bucket tease has fans asking, is this even legal? Welcome to the Starscope Report Deep Dive.
Yeah, we are unpacking some major Hollywood drama today.
Exactly. Join us as we uncover industry shakeups and viral controversies. And today, we are taking you into the epicenter of a massive, highly calculated spectacle.
We really are. We're looking at the upcoming 2026 release of Scary Movie, or Scary Movie 6, as everyone online is calling it.
And we're going to figure out how a single bong-shaped popcorn bucket essentially hijacked the entire global entertainment conversation.
It's wild. And to guide us through this, we have a really fascinating stack of sources today.
A huge stack, yeah.
Right, so for the mainstream impact, we're pulling from entertainment heavyweights like Hollywood Life, Screen Rant, Joe Blow, Comic Basics, and Fantasyland News.
But this campaign is also super targeted at specific subcultures, right?
Exactly, which is why we also have to look at niche collector and culture magazines. So we're bringing in High Times, Bleeding Cool, Resell Calendar, What Kept Me Up, and just rounding it all out with Wikipedia for the baseline facts.
So our mission for you today is to unpack the mechanics of this whole campaign. We want to determine if this is, a stroke of pure marketing genius, a looming logistical nightmare, or maybe just a desperate plea for relevance.
Yeah, from a franchise that arguably peaked over 2 decades ago.
Right. And more importantly, we're going to look at what this whole spectacle reveals about the wild, rapidly evolving state of the modern movie theater experience.
Because it is changing fast.
So fast.
Yeah.
But we have to start with the bucket itself. I mean, on May 21st, the official social media accounts for Paramount Pictures, Miramax, and Scary Movie dropped a promotional video that just left people speechless.
The visual alone is completely audacious. I mean, they revealed a popcorn container shaped exactly like a classic glass water pipe.
Literally a bong.
Literally. And they committed entirely to the bit. It features this wide globe base, a long vertical tube, and a side stem.
And the side stem isn't just for looks, is it?
No, apparently it functions as a butter dispenser.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And in the video, the piece is just packed to the absolute brim with popcorn surrounded by all this billowing smoke.
And the tagline, we have to mention the tagline.
Right, the tagline is, choose the piece that fits you just right. And they tease 4 distinct sizes.
It's so unhinged.
Mm.
But let's talk about the environment that makes a product like this even possible. Because a major studio doesn't just greenlight drug paraphernalia-themed merchandise out of nowhere.
Definitely not.
According to What Kept Me Up, they've been tracking this trend that they call the popcorn bucket arms race. We're seeing studios competing not just on the screen, but at the concession stand?
Yeah, for decades, the concession stand was so straightforward. You had a cardboard tub, maybe a promotional movie poster printed on it.
Maybe a tin bucket, if you were lucky.
Right, simple tin or plastic. But over the last few years, really between 2024 and 2026, studios realized this critical shift in consumer behavior.
Because these highly stylized, three-dimensional collectible containers, they basically act as independent viral marketing engines now.
Exactly. And theaters make the vast majority of their profit margins from concessions, not the actual ticket sales. So if a studio can offer a high-margin novelty item that drives foot traffic to the concession stand, theaters are highly motivated to push it.
It really feels like modern popcorn buckets have evolved into, Happy Meal toys for adults.
Oh, that's exactly what they are.
We're seeing a significant portion of the audience buying a $20 movie ticket simply to unlock the right to purchase the exclusive merchandise.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Dune. Part 2 Sandworm Bucket. That gained massive notoriety because its rubber teeth looked incredibly suggestive.
Very suggestive. And then Deadpool and Wolverine weaponized that trend with the bucket shaped like Wolverine's gaping mouth.
And Alien. Romulus gave us that terrifyingly lifelike xenomorph head.
Don't forget Gladiator 2. They literally sold a miniature coliseum that doubled as an arena for thumb wars.
Right, the underlying mechanism here is user-generated content. When someone buys a xenomorph head, the first thing they do is film themselves holding it in the lobby and post it online.
The studio is effectively subsidizing their marketing budget by outsourcing it to the ticket buyers.
Exactly.
But I have to push back on the logistics of this specific Scary Movie bucket. I mean, the Dune bucket was reportedly a viral accident. The designers didn't anticipate the internet's reaction.
Right, they were just making a sandworm.
But this water pipe bucket is intentional, provocative design. Let's think about the physical reality of distributing this. Shipping thousands of literal, fragile glass structures to giant theater chains like AMC and Regal seems completely unfeasible.
No, it sounds like a nightmare.
The weight, the foam packaging to prevent shattering, the warehouse space, not to mention the immense liability of handing large glass tubes to people in a pitch-black, crowded theater.
Yeah, a lot could go wrong.
Is this just a logistical disaster waiting to happen on opening weekend?
Well, that physical liability is the exact puzzle the secondary market is trying to solve right now. If we look at the economic analysis from Resale Calendar, combined with reports from Fantasyland News, the most potent element of this campaign is that no one actually knows if the bucket is real.
Wait, really? The studio hasn't confirmed anything?
Zero. They've provided zero manufacturing details.
So you're saying a major studio might be faking a physical product just for digital impressions. Has that kind of phantom merchandising happened before?
It is rare, but Resale Calendar maps out 3 potential realities for what Paramount is doing here. Reality number 1 is exactly that, a pure digital marketing gag.
So it was never designed to be mass-produced.
Right. Maybe they manufacture a handful of high-quality prototypes to send to prominent influencers for unboxing videos, but you'll never actually see a concession stand.
Okay, what's the second reality?
Reality number 2 is that the design is real, but the materials are heavily modified for retail, because a theater chain simply will not take the insurance risk of selling actual glass.
Right, so you get like a cheap, lightweight plastic mold.
Exactly. One that mimics the shape but completely lacks that premium feel they showed in the video.
And reality number 3?
Reality number 3 is that it is genuine glass, identical to the promo video, but it's treated as a premium collector's piece and sold in incredibly limited quantities. They estimate a base retail price of around $50.
$50 for a vessel to hold $5 worth of popped corn.
I know.
And the crazy thing is, the secondary market economics make that $50 look like a bargain.
Oh, absolutely.
Resale Calendar points out that artificial scarcity in movie merchandise has created this entire speculative economy. If this glass bucket actually hits theaters, resellers project that a $50 base item will flip for $100 to $150 almost immediately.
Yeah, overnight. To put that into perspective, an entirely different movie recently released a novelty item marketed as the world's smallest popcorn bucket.
Oh, I saw that. It was practically a thimble.
Literally a thimble. And that tiny piece of plastic was flipping for $50 on eBay purely because it was rare.
That is wild. But by analyzing these 3 possibilities, we can really see the brilliance of Paramount's current position.
Yeah, because as long as they refuse to confirm whether it's glass, plastic, or just a digital illusion, it operates like a Schrodinger's popcorn bucket.
Yes, it exists in all 3 states in the minds of the audience.
Exactly. They are generating millions of impressions, sparking intense debates in Reddit threads, and building immense anticipation. And they're doing it all without committing to a single supply chain contract or assuming any physical liability.
They get all the cultural momentum of a controversial product without having to manage the nightmare of shipping it.
It's genius.
But this bucket isn't just an isolated stunt. When you look at the broader campaign, Paramount is executing a highly targeted strategy aimed directly at a very specific subculture.
Yeah, they are heavily indexing on cannabis culture. According to High Times magazine, the studio strategy extends far beyond suggestive popcorn containers. They're getting into actual hardware.
Hardware, you mean like actual vapes?
Yes. Paramount has formally partnered with PayX, which is one of the largest vaporizer brands in the world, to release a limited edition Onyx PayX 4 device.
Wow.
And it features custom, official, scary movie franchise artwork etched right onto the device.
The corporate logistics of that alone are staggering to me. You have a massive Hollywood studio whose legal and brand safety teams had to sign off on an official collaboration with a cannabis hardware manufacturer just to promote a summer blockbuster.
It's definitely a new era. And to support the hardware release, PayX is funding and launching a 4-part digital parody series. It's titled Don't Kill, Just Chill.
Don't kill, just chill. That's hilarious.
Right. The entire premise revolves around the iconic Ghostface killer abandoning all the traditional slasher tropes to simply hang out and vape in increasingly mundane, relaxed scenarios.
And it stars comedian Justine Marino, right?
Okay. It acts as a tonal bridge between the vaporizer brand and the movie franchise.
I am going to play devil's advocate here for a second because the cultural commentary around this specific partnership is heavily fractured in our sources.
Oh, definitely.
From the Bleeding Cool perspective, I have to say this campaign feels a bit desperate. This is a franchise that arguably peaked in 2003.
Fair point.
When you look at the Bong Bucket and the vape collaboration, it doesn't necessarily feel like a clever, modern marketing push. It feels like cheap shock bait.
Yeah, Bleeding Cool argues they're trying too hard.
Exactly. They know their brand of early 2000s slapstick comedy is incredibly dated, so they're relying on edgy, taboo merchandise to generate the controversy they can't achieve with the actual script.
That is a very prominent critique. But if we look at the data presented by High Times, the argument for this being a massive cultural milestone is actually really strong.
How so?
Well, the sheer corporate reality of this partnership is what matters. A decade ago, if a major studio attached a premier horror comedy IP to a vaporizer brand, it would have resulted in immediate advertiser pullouts.
Oh, massive boycotts. It would have been deemed totally toxic.
Exactly. But today, it is not some hidden back alley promotion. It is the headline, front and center strategy for a June theatrical release. So from the High Times viewpoint, this proves that cannabis culture has been thoroughly normalized and absorbed into mainstream entertainment economics. It isn't desperation, it's recognizing a massive, previously untapped demographic and marketing directly to their lifestyle.
That friction is exactly what makes this so fascinating. If the marketing strategy alone is generating this much polarized debate between being a groundbreaking cultural milestone and just a desperate grasp for edgy relevance, it makes you wonder what the actual 90-minute movie is going to look like.
Right. Who is the target audience for this in 2026?
Exactly. Who are they making this for?
The answer to who this is for really lies in who Paramount brought back to create it. This whole debate over edgy marketing versus dated humor connects directly to the core philosophy of the creative team.
The core four.
Yes, for the first time since Scary Movie 2 in 2001, the core four are reuniting. We are seeing Marlon Wayans, Shawn Wayans, Anna Faris, and Regina Hall back together on screen.
That alone is huge for fans of the original.
It is, and they have Michael Titters directing.
And Marlon Wayans has been incredibly transparent about their creative mandate. I mean, in recent interviews, he explicitly stated that their goal is to resurrect raw, no-holds-barred comedy.
Yeah, his specific phrasing was that they intend to cancel the cancel culture.
That is a massive strategic flag to plant. In modern Hollywood, comedy has generally shifted towards safer, more universally palatable tones, mostly to ensure broad international box office appeal.
Right, you don't want to alienate anyone.
But by publicly declaring an intent to be offensive, cross lines and actively invite backlash, Wayans and Paramount are employing this counter-programming strategy.
They're aiming for an anti-fragile audience, people who feel alienated by modern sanitized comedy and are eager for that unapologetic tone of the early 2000s.
And looking at their target list, they are taking aim at a very specific evolution in cinema. The film runs 1 hour and 36 minutes. It carries an NR or not rated status, which is bold.
Very bold.
And it's packing an incredibly dense list of parodies. The sources say they are spoofing Smile, M3GN, Weapons, The Substance, Get Out, Long Legs, Nope, and Scream 6.
What is critical to note here is the shift in the genre they are mocking. The original Scary Movie films parodied 1990s teen slashers, movies that were already somewhat campy.
Right.
But this new film is largely targeting elevated horror and requels.
For you listening who might not live in movie forums, let's just define those terms real quick. A requel is a movie that acts as both a reboot and a sequel simultaneously.
Yeah, bringing back legacy characters just to pass the torch to a younger cast.
Which is exactly what Scream 6 did. And then elevated horror refers to prestige, highly dramatic, often slow burn horror films. Think Long Legs or Get Out, where the monster is usually a metaphor for trauma or societal issues.
Which is precisely why spoofing them is such a rich, strategic choice. Taking down a movie that takes itself incredibly seriously, like an A24 elevated horror film, provides a much sharper comedic contrast than spoofing a standard slasher.
That makes total sense. They're even reaching outside of horror to spoof upcoming biopics. Kenan Thompson signed on to play Michael Jackson, which directly mocks the upcoming Michael film.
Yeah, and that's a layered callback for fans because the franchise previously spoofed Michael Jackson in their third and fourth installments.
True, but the commitment to pushing the envelope is probably best highlighted by the Terrifier 3 parody.
Oh, this is a crazy story.
The sources report there is a sequence featuring a spoof of Art the Clown blowing up a shopping mall with children inside. During the post-production process, this scene was initially removed from the film because test audiences or executives deemed it just too extreme.
Too dark even for Scary Movie.
Right. But in the final edit, the creative team reinstated a trimmed-down version of it. They understand that in order to sell the no-holds-barred promise of their marketing, the movie itself actually has to deliver genuine shock value.
And the studio clearly believes this aggressive, controversial approach is working. We can see absolute proof of their confidence in how they are maneuvering the release schedule.
The logistics of theatrical release dates are fascinating. You do not move a movie unless you have hard data telling you to do so.
Exactly. Originally, Scary Movie 6 was slated for a June 12th release. But the digital response to the initial teaser trailers, combined with all that massive online discourse generated by the Bong bucket and the PX collaboration,
all the Reddit threads and Twitter debates.
right, it gave Paramount such a surge of momentum that they actually moved the release date up a full week to June 5th.
Which places it in direct, head-to-head competition with Amazon MGM's massive Masters of the Universe adaptation.
Yeah, He-Man versus Ghostface.
That is a deeply confident maneuver. They are not hiding this not-rated comedy in a quiet weekend. They are actively pitting it against a massive four-quadrant superhero-style blockbuster.
Furthermore, they are engineering the ticketing process to ensure the auditoriums are completely packed.
Yeah.
Because comedy as a genre performs significantly better in a crowded theater. Laughter is contagious.
It really is. It changes the whole vibe.
To facilitate that, Paramount is heavily hyping an opening night fan event on June 4th, rewarding early attendees with exclusive art prints.
And they're backing that up with aggressive pricing models.
Yes.
They partnered with Fandango to offer a buy three, get one free deal. You just use the promo code ScaryMoviePreG1.
That is so smart.
It is, because they don't just want you buying a single ticket. They want groups. They want entire rows of college students, teenagers, and nostalgic millennials.
They're trying to engineer a literal party environment in the theater.
Which perfectly aligns with the vaporizer collaborations, the water pipe buckets, and the unapologetic tone of the Wayans brothers.
When you look at the machinery of this entire rollout, the Scary Movie team has successfully executed a master-level hijacking of the cultural conversation.
They really have.
They utilized a legally ambiguous popcorn vessel, unprecedented hardware partnerships, and highly polarizing rhetoric regarding comedy and culture to ensure total digital dominance leading up to their opening weekend.
So why should you care about any of this? Even if you have absolutely no intention of watching a horror parody, even if the humor just isn't for you, you are watching a real-time evolution of the cinematic landscape.
You're witnessing how the economics of going to the movies are fundamentally changing.
It's no longer just about the narrative projected onto the silver screen. It's increasingly about the physical artifacts you can purchase in the lobby, the discourse and friction you can generate in online comment sections, and the specific, sometimes controversial subcultures a studio is willing to endorse just to sell a ticket.
It represents a profound shift in the psychology of the theatrical experience. Studios are learning that offering audiences a way to participate in a meme can be just as lucrative as offering them a compelling narrative.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to mull over as we wrap up today. As Hollywood blockbusters increasingly rely on viral merchandise, artificial scarcity, and outrage marketing to drive their opening weekends, when the piece of plastic or glass holding your popcorn generates more discourse, deeper debate, and more genuine excitement than the actual $100 million movie playing in the dark, are we still going to the cinema to be told a story?
Or are we simply paying an entry fee to physically participate in the internet's latest meme?
The screen glows, the smoke rises, you buy the bucket, but do you even remember the movie? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.